Hello and welcome to NFL Experts. I'm Dave Kress along with Louie DB. And today we're going over our defensive notable players to watch in free agency. Quick story to tell. About 10 minutes after we recorded our offensive, should be just below you on the YouTube page, Ryan Clady was franchise tagged by the Denver Broncos. Like we predicted, we both thought that he was going to stay in Denver, so I guess you can call that a win for us.
Yeah, great prediction from us, as that's why we call ourselves the experts, but a great move for the Broncos, solidifying a big piece of their offense. But, yeah, great.
All right, so let's get to the defensive. Let's start us off with the defensive ends. First guy, he's been he's been having some contract problems the past few years in New York. Osi Umenyiora.
Yeah, there has been a lot of contract debates with them in the past couple of years. I don't know if they might stay. The Giants might want to lock him up. But, I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use a guy like him. Another team that I like for him is the Atlanta Falcons, who just released a guy we'll be talking about later, John Abraham.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a great free agent out there, but I think the Giants should go and lock him up because depth at every position is needed.
Well, yeah, I think they could, but, I mean, they still have JPP. They cut Chris Canty, and they still obviously have Justin Tuck. But this is kind of bringing us to our next guy. Dwight Freeney was released by the Colts. And he said he would like to play for the Giants. He did say that. So I don't know I haven't really looked into that as much. But if he does end up there, I don't think OC should stay. But that's really about where Freeney ends up.
Yeah, you're definitely right on Dwight Freeney saying about the Giants. I just don't think it's a smart. I think the Giants just need to stick with what they have.
Yeah.
They have a great defensive line.
They kind of slowed down last year.
Yeah. You need Tuck and PPP. You don't want to have to deal about sharing field time. I think JPP and Justin Tuck need to be just your full-out guys, and I think they need to let OC go. And I don't know. I just don't think that's a smart fit for Freeney, to be honest with you. If he wants to be out there all the time, I just don't know if that would be a good fit.
Okay, next defensive end. He was just released a couple of days ago by the Falcons. John Abraham. He's getting old. I think he's 34, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure he was on NFL Network.
Yeah, and that's old for defensive ends. It's kind of like running back where you want fresh
running back's probably the oldest.
Oh, yeah.
Position.
Because they get beat down so much.
Yeah, so that's kind of like Michael Turner who also was released by the Falcons.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't really know where Abraham's going to go. I don't think he'll return to the Falcons. Obviously, he was cut by them.
Yeah.
I mean, on NFL Total Access, they were saying if they were interviewing him, they said if the Falcons would have given him a less money contract if he would ever go back. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like you said, he's getting older, and you want younger players at the position, but he still brings a lot to the table. And like I said before, to me, you need youth at that position. On every position, you want fresher legs. And I think a team like maybe Buffalo.
Well,
I've been debating a lot with ends. I've been trying to see who fits Buffalo because they need another guy opposite Mario, and I don't think Abraham's the right fit, but it's just another throwing it out there that Buffalo could possibly go after a defensive end in free agency. But Abraham's it's a tricky question to see where he fits.
Well, you have the Bills taking a defensive end in your mock draft. Which one though?
Deion Jordan.
Deion Jordan out of Oregon.
If they don't take a quarterback, which I don't think they will.
Yeah,
be smart though. If they do.
First of all, if you ever want to make your own mock draft, go to NFLDraftGeek.com. Last year we had NFL Draft Geek from Twitter on our shows. We might have him on again. But he's got a great site where you can
great website.
You can make your own mock drafts. You can see ours. Mine would be the one under Dave Kress. Louie's would be the one under DB Sports Talk. And they will be on our website. Once our website is still isn't published yet, but
it's under construction.
Yeah, once we get that up, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Another team Abraham could go to. We're gonna be talking about the next guy, Cliff Averill.
Oh yeah.
Detroit Lions, another team. John Abraham could go. Cliff Averill is a free agent, obviously. A really smart move for the Lions if they can lock this guy up because they might be losing as well Kyle Vanden Bosch the other end.
Yeah, I mean then
Averill brings a lot to the table.
Oh yeah, they already have Ndamukong Suh in the middle. And is fairly still on them.
Yeah,
he's having some off-field troubles.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It seems like everybody in the Lions has these problems, and that's why Avery Williams doesn't.
Titus Young. Yeah, Ndamukong Suh.
That one safety, don't remember his name, but a lot of question marks. But
well, yeah, I mean, their defense needs help. Like I think you do as well. I've got them taking Dima Leonard in the first
corner.
round.
They need secondary because then there's so many good linemen out there in free agency right now. But I think they need to lock up their own. Avrill's young. He's got great legs. Even though they had those contract disputes last year, I think they need to lock him up because he's to me one of the best pass rushers in this class and a very underrated defensive end. I think the Lions will lock him up.
All right. So next person, Paul Kruger, last defensive end we have on here. No, second last.
Yeah.
Kruger, I'm obviously getting a ring. It would be a no-brainer probably if it wasn't for the Ravens that he was on. I mean, they've just got so much problem. They just re-signed Joe Flacco
for a huge deal.
He is now the highest-paid player in NFL history, $120 million. So, highest-paid offensive player, highest-paid player in NFL history. The highest-paid defensive player was signed last year by my very own Buffalo Bills, Mario Williams, 6 years, $98 million.
Yeah.
But it's all about the guarantee. How much was Flacco guaranteed?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of
Mario
money,
was paid was signed for $98 million, but only 50
lot.
of it was guaranteed. So.
And it's just the worst time for Kruger to be a free agent because the Ravens have. It's not the worst for him. It's worse for the Ravens because he's such a great role player and was one of the big reasons why they made that run on the end on that defense. And it's just they have so many other positions they have to take care of. Just getting that deal done with Flacco, they still have to make an attempt to get back Ed Reed, who we'll talk about later. And then Kruger, and a guy that really, to me, was the best linebacker on their team in the playoffs, no disrespect to Ray Lewis, was Donnell Ellerbe, who we'll also talk about later.
The Ravens really need to clean up whatever they've got.
And I think, honestly, I don't think he'll be back because they have their second-round pick last year, Courtney Upshaw, on the one end, and Suggs.
They still have their franchise tag.
Yes.
So that can save one player.
Ooh, that brings a good point. I forgot about that. Now maybe Ed Reed. They might that deal right there. Wow, I love Ozzie Newsome. They have the best front office because now that might make them be able to lock up Ed Reed.
Well, true, but
or Paul Kruger.
Well, wouldn't it be smarter if they sign everyone for different years, so they don't have to sign everyone in 1 year?
That's true. It's just such a.
But you don't really see this yet.
You've never seen this where Alpha's a Super Bowl win, almost your whole defense is free agent.
But you would definitely see teams decrease after Super Bowl. Like, obviously, back in 2007 when the Giants won, they lost Plaxico Burress, but that was all because of his leg and stuff like that junk. But anyway, our last defensive end, I think he's pretty underrated, obviously, playing across from J.J. Watt, who wouldn't be underrated. Connor Barwin. Do you see them bringing him back? Because I think they could. I mean, obviously, this is his first year starting, because he started with Mario Williams. But I think they'd bring him back.
I think they need to, because, honestly, he was one of the big reasons, too, J.J. Watt. No disrespect, I think pretty much it was all because Watt was so good. But he had another guy that the offensive line needed to take care of. Connor Barwin's a very underrated passer, really got to the quarterback good, and he was really good against the run. One of the most underrated. He's a very underrated pass rusher, and I think the Texans will lock him up because I think they need to, and he's a great role player for that team, and it's going to be another big reason if they make a deep playoff push this year. I think he stays with Houston.
All right, so our next guy. One more thing I'd like to say about that. I mean, their defense is pretty good. I mean, Wade Phillips, he really has a great defense.
Just in, Clady has been franchise tagged.
Yeah, that happened a while ago.
My phone is delayed.
No. Obviously in the middle piece, there's their middle linebacker with Brian Cushing, and obviously, like you even said this back in the, I don't know when you said this, but you said this a while ago. You really think Jonathan Joseph's a pretty underrated corner, but they have a nice young defense.
And don't forget about Brian Cushing, who's coming back off that ACL injury next year.
I mentioned him.
Oh yeah, I wasn't listening because I was paying attention. But like you said, that's a great point then, because Cushing, to me, I think they missed him a lot at the linebacker position, and D'Amico Ryans, who they lost.
All right.
They can lock up that linebacker position.
So next, Anthony Spencer from the Dallas Cowboys. I think they can bring him back just because they really don't have too much else to worry about.
Agreed.
Contract-wise.
Plus, Brandon Carr just took a pay cut in his contract to extend some money, so that could go to Spencer.
I don't see a problem. He had a great nice.
He was a very good player on that line, almost as good as DeMarcus Ware. Was high up there in the team in tackles and a great pass rusher. Another great guy that is very underrated in this league.
All right, next, Brian Urlacher. I mean, I don't see at all him going anywhere else.
No.
He's so, he's only got a few years left. He's
on his last legs.
He's definitely just gonna finish his career out with the Bears.
Yeah, I think this might be his last year as a significant role player. Like you said, he's on his last couple years, and he's had some injury problems in the past couple years, and really, he's not going anywhere else in Chicago. He's going to finish his year with them, and that's pretty much it. He's not going to be getting paid that much high money because he knows this is probably his last year or two.
All right, so next, Ramo Luga from the what's their name? The Bengals. Sorry, but
good.
I mean,
yeah, great player.
A lot of people see Matt Taiteo going there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think?
That's who I have in my mock draft because I think there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, I
defense.
don't really know who they're going to go with. I've seen a lot of people go with Eddie Lacy to the Bengals. And
that's interesting.
I think
Ben Jarvis.
That's who I got. I got Eddie Lacy going to the Bengals, but I've got. Well, I mean, we don't really have to talk about where we got because we're going to have mock draft.
But that's a good point though. That it brings up the point that if they're not going linebacker, they might want to lock up Maluga. So it's a very interesting situation. But I think they will get him. He was a good role player for them last year, and I think they'll go after Manti, and they're good with dealing with character issues and players. But I think they should lock this guy up because you never know with rookies. They tend to struggle at the linebacker position, and I think Maluga, a good veteran, can really help lock up this defense and help them finally get over the wild card hump.
Yep. All right. Well, a big part of the Bengals is obviously their offense.
Oh, of course. Yeah, definitely. Ben Jarvis, Dalton Green, underrated offensive line as well.
Yeah. All right. So next, Donnell Ellerbe, another linebacker, like we said. So, what do you think of him?
I like Ellerbe. Like I said before, one of the biggest reasons why the Ravens won the Super Bowl was because this guy turned it on when they needed him the most. Ray Lewis did come back for the playoffs, but I think Ellerbe was the best linebacker and the Ravens in that playoff push. And he really, he was dominant, stopping the run, helping out in the passing. And he was even injured in that AFC Championship game, and he played lights out with an interception. They need to lock this guy up, and I think that might be the reason why Kruger might be gone if they don't place the franchise tag on him.